She vanished while he was deployed, erasing him like he never mattered. Years later, she's working hard at a new company until the new CEO arrives. He locks eyes with her and says, "Some betrayals deserve a front row seat." When Marcus stood at the airport gate, wearing his crisp army uniform and holding a bouquet of wildflowers for his fiancée, he felt invincible. Ava clutched his hand, eyes shimmering, whispering promises that would echo in his heart for years. "I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes," she said. He believed her, every word. Marcus had grown up with little, a single mother, secondhand clothes, and dreams too big for his tiny world. Ava, on the other hand, had grown up in a wealthy suburb, her nails always painted and her future paved with comfort. But he loved her, fiercely, enough to believe that love could cross any distance, even war. Deployment was brutal, scorching heat, endless silence, and the cold fear that each letter might be the last. Yet what hurt most wasn't enemy fire. It was Ava's silence. At first, her letters were long. Then they grew shorter. Then, nothing. He called, no answer. Emailed, nothing. 6 months in, he got a message from a mutual friend. "Ava moved out. She's dating someone else now." Marcus stared at that message for hours, not because he was shocked, but because he had believed her. 4 years passed. Marcus didn't come home the same. He came back stronger. While most expected him to fall apart, Marcus used the pain. He started a logistics company from scratch. Military discipline, business precision, and zero distractions. No dating, no Ava, just focus. His company exploded in growth, gaining massive government contracts. And when a struggling old firm offered to sell, he bought it, quietly, under a new name. That firm? Where Ava now worked as a junior assistant. Ava, now older, was far from the picture-perfect woman Marcus once held on to. Her parents had cut her off, the man she left Marcus for had ghosted her. Life was now daily bus rides, microwave dinners, and praying her boss would not notice her wrinkled shoes. She had no idea the company had changed hands. That is, until the HR email came. New CEO arriving Monday. All staff must attend the introduction meeting. She groaned. Just another man in a suit, probably some cold-hearted investor. She showed up to the boardroom 5 minutes late, flustered, holding her chipped coffee mug. She slid into a seat until she heard the voice. Calm, deep, commanding. "Good morning. I am Marcus Hale, your new CEO." Her breath caught in her throat. She turned slowly, and there he was, the man she abandoned in another lifetime. But this time, he was not holding flowers, he was holding her future. Ava had never heard silence ring so loud. Everyone clapped politely as the new CEO finished speaking, but her hands refused to move. Because standing at the front of the room, calm, confident, and powerful, was the man she once left without a goodbye. Marcus Hale. He was no longer the hopeful young soldier she kissed goodbye at the airport. Now, he stood like a man who had tasted war and then conquered the business world with the same fire. And Ava? She was sitting in the very last row, invisible again. She left quickly after the meeting, ducking into the bathroom and locking herself in a stall. Her hands were shaking. "Marcus," she whispered aloud, as if saying it would bring back the version she remembered. She remembered his letters, long, handwritten ones from overseas where he talked about desert sunsets, missing her laugh, and how just the thought of her kept him going. She never wrote back to the last one. How could she? She had already moved out, already moved on, already told herself he would never come back. And yet here he was, owning everything, including the place where she now begged for overtime just to keep the lights on. The next day, the entire office felt different. Marcus's name was on everyone's lips. Rumors swirled about how young he was, how rich, how private. No one knew his past. No one knew she had once loved him and walked away like he was nothing. Until it happened. An email from Marcus's office. Subject: temporary executive assistant assignment. To Ava Carter. She stared at the screen, her chest tightened. No, this has got to be a mistake. But it was not. The receptionist confirmed it. You are reporting directly to Mr. Hale for the next 2 weeks. Something about an internal restructure. Her legs almost gave out. Her hands turned cold. She tried to think, why would he ask for me? To punish her? Humiliate her? Or maybe to look her in the eye and ask the question she had been dreading for years. Why did you give up on me when I needed you the most? That afternoon, she entered his office slowly. Everything was polished, minimal, powerful, like him. He was reviewing a file, not looking up. You are late, he said quietly. I was told to come at 2, and it is 2:03. She lowered her eyes. I am sorry. You used to be better with time, he said without emotion. She opened her mouth to respond, but nothing came. Not an apology, not an excuse, because none would matter to a man who once waited years for a letter that never came. Then he looked up, his eyes cold but calm. Do not worry, he said. This is only temporary. I just wanted to see what loyalty looks like up close.
Working directly under Marcus was worse than Ava imagined. Not because he yelled, not because he humiliated her, but because he did not. He was quiet, precise, professional. He gave instructions without emotion, passed her files without looking at her, and every time she caught his eyes, it felt like looking into a locked door, one she had once walked through freely and then slammed shut herself. For 2 weeks, she followed his orders, scheduled meetings, took notes, organized paperwork. But never once did he mention their past. Never once did he say her name the way he used to, softly, like it meant something. He treated her like she was just another employee. And that broke her more than anger ever could. One day, while organizing his file drawer, Ava found something. A letter, folded, yellowed with age, still sealed. Her heart froze. She recognized it. It was the last letter she wrote but never sent. She had written it 6 months after he deployed. She had poured her infusion into it, her guilt, her shame. She had never meant to hurt him, she just could not wait anymore. She remembered placing it in her drawer, then tossing it away, but somehow here it was, in his drawer. Had he found it? Read it? Kept it? She stood there, trembling, letter in hand, when his voice broke the silence. That drawer is private. She turned. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes calm, but his jaw was tight. I didn't know it was still here, she whispered. He walked forward slowly, took the letter from her hand, and looked at it. I came back early. You didn't know that, did you? Ava's breath caught. No, she whispered. I flew in 3 weeks before my discharge. I wanted to surprise you. I had a ring in my pocket. I walked to our apartment, expecting to see you there with candles or at least a smile. He paused. But you were gone. The place was empty, cold. I found this, crumpled behind the dresser. Ava covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. I was young, stupid, scared. Everyone told me you would not make it back. So you listened to them? His voice was low now, tired, not angry, just disappointed. I was lonely. I thought... I thought you forgot me." He laughed bitterly. "I was being shot at in another country. I didn't have time to forget." The room fell silent. Then he stepped back, placed the letter on his desk, and looked at her. Finally, looked at her. "You do not owe me anything, Ava. Not an apology, not guilt. But now you understand why I asked for you." She nodded, trembling. "Revenge?" He shook his head. "No. Closure." The next day, she expected a dismissal, a transfer, anything. Instead, she got another email. Subject: Permanent promotion, Executive Office Coordinator, from Office of the CEO. Ava stared at the screen, confused. She knocked on his door. "Why?" she asked. Marcus glanced at her. "Because even broken bridges can be rebuilt if someone is brave enough to stand on them." Then he returned to his work, and she just stood there, wondering if forgiveness had just quietly stepped into the room. Ava sat at her desk with the email still open. A promotion. Not punishment, not silence. For weeks, she had expected him to lash out, to make her feel the pain he must have carried all those years. But Marcus had done the one thing she never anticipated. He rose above it. She remembered the old version of him, the dreamer with calloused hands and stars in his eyes, the man who had made poetry on napkins and made her believe in forever. But the man now? He was colder, wiser, but still him. Beneath the hard surface, there was something unbroken. A week passed. Ava kept her distance, working quietly, respectfully. She brought coffee on time, handled reports, avoided small talk. Until one morning, Marcus walked into the office holding a thin blue folder. He said, "Come with me." They walked in silence, down the hallway, past glass walls and executive suites, then into a private conference room. He placed the folder in front of her. Ava hesitated, then opened it. Her eyes widened. It was her. Photos, school records, even a letter from her college advisor she never knew existed. "What is this?" she whispered. "I kept track of you," Marcus said softly. "Not out of bitterness. I just wanted to know if you were okay." Her lip quivered. "I failed you," she whispered. "No. You were human. So was I. The war changed both of us in different ways. I do not blame you for choosing peace while I was drowning in chaos." Tears slipped down her cheeks. She could barely meet his eyes. Then he added, "But I need to show you something else." He pulled out one more paper, handwritten, torn at the edges. It was the letter he never sent. She read it silently. "Ava, if you are reading this, I did not make it home. I just want you to know, I forgave you long before I ever got the chance. Love is not about being right. It is about letting go." She broke down. Right there, in front of him. And for the first time since he had returned, Marcus reached out and placed a hand on hers. Not out of pity. Out of peace. A month later, the office gathered for a veterans charity gala hosted by Marcus himself. Ava was by his side, professionally, but something had shifted. The entire staff could feel it. They whispered things like, "Weren't they?" Is that her? I heard she left him once. But Marcus stood tall. He gave his speech about second chances, dignity, and surviving both war and heartbreak. And when the speech ended, he looked straight at Ava from the podium. He said to the crowd, "There was a time when I believed I had lost everything. But sometimes, life returns what was taken, not to hurt you, but to remind you who you became in the fire." That night, as people left and the lights dimmed, Ava stood alone by the exit. Marcus approached slowly. "I will be leaving for a while. There's a project overseas." Ava nodded, unsure of what to say. "I do not expect you to wait this time." But she looked up, eyes steady. "I will. This time? I will wait." He smiled gently. "I am not asking you to." "I am not doing it for you," she said softly. "I am doing it for the man I never stopped believing in, even when I was too weak to stay." Weeks later, Marcus opened a letter under a desert sky. It was from Ava, and this time, it ended with, "Come home safe."